up, bombers? It's Maude, Garrett, boss bomber of Geek Bomb here. I wanted to do a little video. It's a bit of a more Maudie, which you can find in the playlist in Geek Bomb. These are the videos that I do where I talk about sort of the things about me and what I'm up to. In this case, I'm talking about the tattoos that I have. What they are, where they are, what they mean to me, and why I got them. I never thought I would be a tattoo person. I mean, I thought about getting them, but I never really thought I'd get them, if that makes sense. The permanence of it all is really quite confronting. Is this something that I'm gonna like one day and then love for the rest of my life? Long enough for it to live on me. You see so many bad tattoos out there. People that are just like, do you like it? And it's like, no, it's great. You can't hate someone's tattoo to their face because it is a huge decision where they have decided to not only go through an immense amount of pain, but to wear this art on their body forever or until they realize that laser is the option. The first time I realized I wanted a tattoo, I was 16, but I also, at 16, wanted a belly button ring and my tongue pierced. So you take it with a grain of salt. But the very first tattoo I wanted was the Triforce. I really love the design of it. I like the simplicity. I like the triangles that are formed together. I like that it's 3 yellow triangles and 1 sort of negative space triangle in 1 triangle. But the fact that it represents power, courage, and wisdom, that to me was like, yes. I really feel like you have to have power, courage, and wisdom to get through life. And you have to have an equal amount of all of it for it to work succinctly. I believe like synergy or one of those buzzwords is the thing to use. Oh, the synergy. But I really do believe that. And you know, the whole video game really does go into the fact that if you only have the power shard, you know, absolute power corrupts absolutely. If you have the wisdom Triforce, a lot of the time it's like you have the idea, but you don't really have like the ability to go with it or to do it, which is why you need the courage. Because what good is having the power and the courage if you don't have the wisdom? That's my reasoning behind the Triforce, but what people don't know is that I wanted that on my foot. I wanted the Triforce on my foot. I would draw it on my foot. I would see how it looks. I really liked it. Foot tattoos were big around that era. That's what was going to happen. Cut to being 24. So this is 8 years of contemplation. I finally built up the courage to do it. A friend was having a tattoo party. That's right. They had a professional tattoo artist come over and just punch out a bunch of tats for free. I think they were promoting something. Anyway, someone's like, do you want to come along? And I was like, yes. This is, you know, I'm not going to book the appointment myself. I'm not going to pay for it. So if it's free and it's being handed to me, that's the only way I'll do it. So I went there. I had an American tattoo artist. Tried to remember her name and I wrote it down somewhere because I felt like I really should have, you know, a connection with the person that was marking me permanently. There's photos. Lauren. Haha! Lauren the American. And I told her about my idea. She loved it, hadn't heard of Zelda, but was drafting up the design, which I had shown her. The problem is, Lauren didn't have a measured ruler. So she definitely had a ruler there. It was just, you know, this block of steel kind of deal, and she was drafting it up. But she didn't have measurements to the millimeter. So she's drawing it up, and I'm like, oh, that side's longer. That means that the power Triforce is going to be bigger than the others. It's like, it won't work. And so she drafted up again. I'm like, oh, this doesn't, nope. And she says to me, you know that the triangle is going to be on your foot and your foot is rounded, so really it doesn't matter. Do not tell someone getting their very first tattoo that a design error doesn't really matter. That's not how it works at all. So I was just like, nah, pulling the plug. If she cannot draw my equilateral sided triangle. How did I remember that out of all things with maths? Hypotenuse. Equilateral triangle. Then we had problems, and so I just I had to think of a plan B. I was just like, Triforce isn't working. What's my plan B? Oh, it's quite literally PB. My plan B. It's in purple and blue, my two favorite colors, and it has a really sentimental story behind it. I mean, it can stand for Plan B, which made a lot of sense in Australia because everyone says, what's your Plan B? Yes, your Plan A, but what's your backup plan? What is Plan B? Like, it's a big thing there. In America, it's birth control. Ha! It's preventative measures so you don't have a baby. That's Plan B. So that was fun. Thanks, America. Way to wreck Plan B for me. PB also stands for peanut butter. I cannot tell you the kind of joy I get from peanut butter. Crunchy peanut butter is my jam, and Zelda's jam. Polar bear, they're cute, sure. In Mario Kart 64, I play Peach when I'm doing the regular races. When you're doing battle, Bowser, PB. There are a lot of them. People have discovered more and more of them as I've gone through life. Does it stand for President Bush? No, it really doesn't. Blech. Does it stand for private balcony? Sure. Most of the time people say personal best. And I actually really like that. Striving for my PB always. So that resonates with me. But what does PB really stand for? It stands for Papa Bear. And the story behind that is super cute. So I'm really, really lucky. I'm super, super privileged, and I didn't realize that this was a privilege, but my parents are still together. They love each other so much. They started dating when they were 18. They're still together now. The love that they have has actually made relatives of mine weep. It's so beautiful. They love each other unconditionally. It's magical, and I love their love. My mum is very much like me. She's very affectionate. She's very right-sided of the brain, so she's super creative. She loves to talk. She loves to show emotion and share. She loves to hold. She loves to nurture. And we are so similar like that, my mummy and I. I love her hugs more than anything in the world, and I told her that once, and she has... she's abused it, actually. I didn't get you anything for your birthday, but here's a hug, and it's better than anything I could have got you. So on and so forth. Can you see how my mum is like me? Anyway, I have two older brothers, and they are exactly like my dad. So they are very left side of the brain. They are very logical. They speak in numbers. I kid you not. They are all, in their own way, a genius when it comes to mathematics, and they love that side of thing. And they are a lot more introverted. They don't share emotions as much, which is a man trait already, but it's like amplified with them. You know, I used to communicate with my brother by trying to decipher his grunts. How are you? Oh, he's not bad. Okay, great. So yeah, that's kind of like the dynamic in my family. I don't know how it came up or how I discovered it, but I think it was when I actually moved to Sydney, and I would only ever talk to my parents on the phone instead of in person all the time. And I sort of realized that I didn't share I love yous. My mum and I very much I love you, I love you, I love you. And it just wasn't really something that my dad and I did, and so I started doing it because I was missing him completely. And on the phone, I'd be like, bye, Dad, love you. And he'd be like, bye, sweetheart. And I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe it's just, all right. So I tried it again. Next time I spoke to him, bye, Dad, love you. Bye, Maude. Bye, Dad, love you. Bye, Maude. Yes, I know. Thank you. That's great. And I'm like, okay. So when that started happening and I noticed it, I doubled down on my affection. So, love you, Dad. Love you, Papa Bear. And I developed this nickname for him, Papa Bear, and this term of endearment just to really kind of nuzzle down that my dad was my Papa Bear and I loved him so much. And, you know, he didn't really acknowledge that I was calling him Papa Bear. It's just something that he took in his stride. And then that Christmas, after a few months of I love you, Papa Bear, you know, I opened up the Christmas presents from my family, and my dad had signed his card, Love PB. And we jumped on the phone and had a big chat, and I was like, what's PB? And he goes, Papa Bear. And I was just like, woof. It was like the first time not only did he say love, well, wrote it, but he adopted and acknowledged his nickname that I'd given him. So that for me, Papa Bear, amazing. And the good tip is with your first tattoo, if it's, you know, for your parents that you love so much, it's Papa Bear, how could they possibly get mad? Huh? Think about it. Really clever. This tattoo's for my dad. Do you love it, Dad? It's fine. He wishes I didn't get it, but it's like, it's for you. And I showed my mum, and she's like, let me look at this bloody tattoo. And I was like, yeah. And she grabs my wrist, she's like, PB, ugh. I hate it. And I was like, well, that's just because you're jealous. And she's like, no, this tattoo's for me. And I was like, it's Papa Bear. She goes, PB, parental bitch, it's about me. And I was like, touche, mother, I love you so much. And then she says, I love you. And that's why Dad got the tattoo. It makes no sense, but that's the reason why. The second tattoo, the first one was 24. The second one was 27, I believe. I just moved to America. I'd only been here for about 4 months. Alicia Malone and myself and another friend who was visiting at the time, we all wanted a tattoo. So we were just like, let's go. And because I didn't get my Triforce on my foot, I got it on my finger. I love it, I love it, I love it. You actually can't really tell there's yellow in the Triforce because I wanted to differentiate. I wanted color in my tattoos. I really, really like color ink. And I've had to get it put back in, but there is yellow in those Triforces there. So I got that one. The problem is I needed it to be a little bit finer. It's bleeding a little bit and the yellow doesn't stand out as much as I'd hoped, but I got my Triforce, so that was fantastic. Alicia got a little camera behind her ear, a film camera, an old school one. So yeah, it was like the things that we loved the most. Zelda's the game that made me a gamer, so I kind of wanted to honor that. Alicia and I went to Amsterdam 2 years ago and she, I think, was getting her 13th tattoo. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get my third. I was choosing between two at the time. As everyone knows, I love pineapples. Pineapple is not just because I love it on pizza, come at me, bro, and because, you know, I love pineapple vodka, pineapple juice, the whole thing. I'm really big about it. But what many people don't know is that pineapple is the official fruit of Queensland, where I grew up. So it had like sort of that home attachment that grounded me and that represented who I am as a Queenslander. So that was a big part of why I wanted the pineapple, and I was going to get it on my forearm there. But another one, and I'd actually planned this one the second I got PB. So I woke up the next morning and I wanted it removed because I couldn't believe I'd violated my body. And then the next 7 days I fantasized about what my next tattoos would be. And it was the love heart-shaped balloon with a little loop in the string. And I wanted it down the back of my neck. And so I obviously let that sit for ages. They were the two tattoos that I really, really wanted. I was leaning more towards pineapple. I was going through the design process and really figuring out what I wanted. And I wanted to leave it sit with me for a couple of days so I could really figure it out. And while that was happening, Alicia and I went to this art exhibition in Amsterdam. It was Banksy's art exhibition. And we just had the best time there. It was her and I. It was our girls' trip. We bonded big time. And through this Banksy art exhibition, the girl with the balloon, that the original was there. And I read the blurb. Before, I always liked the notion of like the love heart balloon. I just somehow loved that essence. But when reading what it represented to him, it basically meant that there is always hope. And that to me was so big. And I was like, oh my God, yes. And it's technically my Star Wars tattoo, because if there's always hope, there's a new hope that you always have. No matter what it is, there is a new hope. So I was like, that's the one I'm gonna get. And I ended up getting it down the back of my arm here. So there's my love heart tattoo. The guy had to draw it a number of times to get that little loop just right. And I wanted it to try and make it look as 3D as possible. That's why there's a bit of shading there, just because I wanted it to look like it had a little bit of shine over it. But I never get to see this tattoo. I forget that I have it half the time. But yeah, so they're my 3 tattoos. I want to hear from you though in the comments. Do you have a geeky tattoo? What have you got? If you're on Instagram, tag GeekBomb and let us know. Geeky tattoos, share them with me. If you don't have any tattoos, why is that? What's stopping you? And if you've had a tattoo removed, what was it and why did you get it removed? I think tattoos are so fascinating. I don't have as many as Alicia Malone, but I do have 3, which is 3 more than I thought I would ever have the courage to do. Because you're dragging a needle through your skin. That's how the tattoo happened. In no way does that tickle. For some people, it's just uncomfortable. For other people, it's excruciating. The one that hurt the most was PB because it's the first time that it even happened and I was like, ow! I have the lowest pain threshold. The one that hurt the least for me was actually this one. I just kind of laid back and it just happened and I was like, all right. This one was over so quick that it didn't matter, but I got that one reshaded as well. Again, not a fun feeling, but it's bearable. Anyway, that's more Maudie for you. My geeky tattoos explained. Thanks for letting me share this with you. If you haven't subscribed to Geek Bomb, do it now. Hey, listen. We do have a Patreon. We do a bunch of content over there and fun things. We have a Discord that you have access to if you pay. And I do photo shoots every week, and they're exclusive prints only for Patreon as well. So get involved with that one. I think that's everything. You've been great. Bye, mate.